Hello. So, whoa, calm down. Okay. So yeah, last video I was working on, that is quite loud, huh? Let's bring that down just a little bit. How about right there? Okay. So last video I was working on a song called Freedom, and I was saying that I had to kind of do some cleanup stuff. Actually, the amount of work I did between now and posting the final demo version on the channel, which is up, you can go listen to it now, was quite extensive. I went into the car and listened to it on the way to daycare, and I heard a bunch of problems. Mainly, I couldn't hear the bass or sub bass at all. So I went and remixed it today, did a bunch of different stuff, trial and error, massaging, and finally got it where it is today, which I was pretty happy with. I think the main thing that I did was removed a lot of reverb. So I was reading an article about EQing your reverbs so there's not a lot of bass noise or high-end frequency noise. So I cut off all the noise I cut off the top of my reverbs on the bottom of my reverbs. So that made a lot of room in the mix. So then I was able to bring the bass guitar, and the drums up so that we could hear them. And then I did I put all like a little pre-delay on all of my reverbs so that there was a little space between when the reverb started and when the note hit. I read that in an article too. Anyway, took a bunch of like advice from stuff online and just tried stuff out and ended up coming up with a mix that I liked. So yeah. This next one I wanted to show, I'm gonna do one called Forgotten Love, but I think I'm changing the name to just Forgotten. So a song I wrote a long time ago about someone who gets dementia or Alzheimer's and forgets their spouse, and they're still really in love with them, and say the hook is like, I hope I can see their face again if I can remember their name. Because how can I see them if I don't even know who they are, basically. So that's what I'm going to be producing. So on the last track, Freedom, was the first time I tried 4-part harmony. Writing those out for the brass section. And I loved it so much, I thought, what if I do the whole song that way? So in my current template that I'm setting up, I've got my vocal bus over here. I got a piano, which I used to play along with as I sang to put down the rough recording, which I use. So what I do is I put on a drum beat or the metronome, I sing and play piano, I'll go through the whole song, and then I have the whole song in a rough form. I start chopping it up, replacing parts, re-recording vocals and stuff like that. So on this one, I've already recorded the piano and the vocal. I can show you what that sounds like. So if we just do... just these two. Scent upon her hair and a smile, hard not to forget, but my memory fades. I tried so hard not to forget. Okay, so yeah, I recorded it really slow, which was great because I could play more intricate things on the piano on the slower tempo. So then I had the piano and my voice, and then I've chosen a different tempo that I want. I want to go at 80 beats per second or per minute. I remember some things, like the scent upon her hair and a smile that kept me unaware. You can hear that in my voice, that warping. That's because I've shrunk it, and it's trying not to. The software is trying to speed up the track without changing the pitch. So anyway, that'll all be re-recorded over. So now I have my tempo that I like, and so what I did was at that point I built out. Let me switch this over. Hey, okay. So that's very loud. Sorry. At that point, I set up these four groups: soprano, alto, tenor, bass, 4-part harmony. And in each group, I put an instrument rack. And in the instrument rack, I constrain the playable notes to the range of a soprano singer, an alto singer, a tenor singer, and a bass singer. So no notes outside of those vocal ranges will be able to be played within each of these individual voices. So then I took my piano recording, which sounded like this. All right, so I've got 5 fingers, 2 hands, possible of 10 notes playing spread out across the piano. So I took that recording from the piano and I just duplicated it and copied it straight over to the bass, tenor, alto, and soprano. And that's immediately going to divide this performance into parts, because once the notes go from one voice to the next, they will stop on the lower voice. Like say I'm going up, well, I'll just show you. Here's the bass part. So you're not hearing any of that high stuff. If I go up to my soprano section, we can hear all the high stuff. And so yeah, I dropped a bass guitar on the bass part. So instead of a bass vocalist, it's a bass guitar. For the tenor, I've got an acoustic guitar. For the alto, I have a pad or like a surreal soundscape, like a electronic environment. And then soprano, I have mallets like glockenspiel, like really high ding ding metal sounding. So we can hear the soprano. Bass again. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, it's really great. I've basically taken one piano performance, split it into 4 parts, and then through a different instrument that I felt sat in that range, that frequency range for like composing a song, like a pop song. And then this is all of them together. They're pretty loud, so brace your ears. But my memory fades and my mind is full of death. I hope they see your face again. Right? So it's little crazy, but I think, man, what a fast way to get a song going and get a sound going. And I can just swap any of the parts. If I didn't want this bass to be a guitar, I'll just duplicate this instrument in my rack, and I'm going to go ahead and mute the bass guitar. And then I'll go over here to my Kontact library, and I will go to bowed stringed, and let's find, Session Pro. We're going to go to basses. So now this is what the bass part sounds like. You gotta watch out because the sustain pedal is on for these. So I'm gonna have to go through and make sure the sustain pedal works with the instrument. Make sure that I don't want these basses playing these chords. I probably want them playing like single notes. That can all be cleaned up later. But I hope they see your face again. I could only just remember her. So I already have like a really rough way. And if I write a proper bass line from this, like I can go into these MIDI notes, I could delete everything, above the bass line, and that gives me something simple to work with. And I can start editing these parts out really quickly. So I just thought this was a really clever way, honestly, of putting together a song really quickly. So I'm gonna keep experimenting with this, do some sound design, and see how this works. The reason why I wanted to do this is because often when I'm making mixes and I'm arranging songs, I just start grabbing instruments from all over the place that I just think I would want in there, and I just put them in, and I don't think of the voicing. Like, you should only put in what is needed. You need to keep it simple. And so this, right now, I already have 4 parts. I already have the full spectrum of the sound spectrum. I mean, might add a sub bass to this, but that's it. I have a full sound. And so if I put more instruments into these buses, I have limiters on the top of these buses, so so they'll just add to whatever that voice is. They won't raise the volume necessarily. So it'll just add to the texture of that particular voice. But it won't stomp on the frequencies of the other voices. Like this tenor shouldn't be going down into the bass. It probably is if I look at it actually, because there's a lot of harmonics that happen on these instruments. Let's see, let's just play. Yeah, so that guitar was going well down into the 100 range. So all I have to do is go into this the tenor bus and just surgically EQ out anything I want, or do a high pass filter or whatever. It's going to be easy to keep separation between these voices. But already, I feel like already there is a little bit of separation just because of the keyboard limitations, like not allowing the notes to go higher or lower than that particular voice, that what I designated in the beginning. Anyway, if anything more interesting happens on this track before it's produced like fully, I will make a video. Peace.